If your obsession is adventure, then the Kimberley has it all. And one destination stands above the rest, the mighty Gibb River Road.
How are we the only ones here?
We got it to ourselves, dogs.
How bloody good? 3, 2, 1.
Oh, God.
It's shoulder season on the Gibb. The crowds are gone, the fish are biting,
I caught my first fish!
and our journey just keeps getting better. Well, folks, that right there is the Pentecost River, up here behind me, the Coburn Ranges, and down there, the Gibb River Road. We've had some of the worst corrugations I've seen anywhere. We've had swimming holes and gorges all to ourselves, and we found the best campsite on the Gibb River Road. So I suggest you sit back, crack one of these, and enjoy it, because this is off-grid. Our Kimberley adventure begins on the shores of the Dampier Peninsula, where we've taken a few days to dry out the rigs after our recent Pilbara trip at this magnificent little spot near Beagle Bay. But, of course, our destination for this trip lies far inland. Tomorrow, we'll be meeting up with the Gibb River Road in Derby before heading out to the stunning Windjana and Bells Gorges and camping our way along the Gibb all the way to the Pentecost River in the far northeast. After an early start the next morning and a few hours on the blacktop, we've hit the edge of the bitumen and the start of what will be hundreds of kilometres of rough gravel roads. And that means it's time to lower the tyre pressures for the conditions ahead. The crew are just as excited as me to get this adventure underway. Pretty soon, we're getting into it.
Here we go, Hutch. Bring on the Gibb.
We're doing it.
We're doing it.
How good?
Alrighty, this is it. This is the big one. The Gibb River Road. 665 kilometres, gravel, corrugation, swimming holes, gorges. Weather's perfect, it's in the shoulder season, crowds are down, doesn't get much better. Steph and Hales, how you going back there in the dust?
Mate, loving life. We're on the bucket list road and we're away, so I'm happy.
That's exactly why I'm getting in touch. This is it. This is the big one. This is the Gibb. You guys come from the east coast. The Gibb would seem like a million miles away for you guys.
It is, mate. We just checked the trip meter then, 12,500 k's to get here and loving life.
Trust me when I say it's going to be worth it. Some of the best swimming holes you've seen anywhere. She's a bit rough in places. Froth factor at 100.
That's good, mate, because you have built it up largely at the minute. There's a couple of special spots you're telling us about today, so we're excited.
So you should be. This is one of those tracks you'll come back to. You won't forget it in a hurry. Sarge, Steph, you're on the Gibb. Suck it in.
Mate, this is unreal. I can't wait.
Big 79 should eat it up.
Yeah, no, this cruise is going great. Loving life, going back to basics, living out of the train canopy at the moment. It's good.
Well, mate, buckle yourself in. This is the Gibb. We've got about a week, maybe longer. Who cares? We'll just take our time, whatever comes. Heaps to see and do. I just, geez, put a couple of beers in the fridge. I'm frothing. Let's get going.
Mate, we're excited. Let's do it.
When isn't Graham frothing?
Yeah.
Now, look, while most of you will be familiar with the Gibb River Road, might be a percentage of you out there that are wondering, what the heck is this? Where is he? Why is he doing it? Well, the Gibb originally was created as a stock route to move cattle from the remote stations out here down around the Derby region all the way through this northern Kimberley area up to the port of Wyndham. Today, it's one of the most iconic tourist drives in Australia. Pretty hard on vehicles, corrugated, rocky and rough the whole way through. Combine that with the fact that a lot of people do this trip whilst they're travelling around Australia, so thus they're towing, and it really does show any weaknesses you've got in your rig or your tow vehicle behind. It's really worth the effort though, folks. There are so many stops along the way. Heaps of swimming holes, heaps of gorges, heaps of camping. You've never heard of the Gibb, look it up. And again, I know that bucket list of yours is getting longer and longer. Chuck it in the top 5, in my humble opinion. Barely an hour will go by on this road without something epic to visit or swim in. But the southern end especially boasts a couple of iconic attractions. And the first one is soon on the horizon, Windjana Gorge.
Damn, how sick's that cliff face?
They're huge.
That's wicked.
That's so cool. Windjana Gorge. Let's do it.
Carved out of the Napier Range by millennia of water flow from a local river, Windjana is probably one of the most accessible of the gorges in the Kimberley, and understandably also one of the most popular. It's no less stunning for that though, with fossils and features in the walls that date back a staggering 300 million years. Depending on your direction of travel, this will be the first or the last thing you experience on the Gibb, Windjana Gorge. Utterly spectacular. Now, my simple mind can't get around the fact that this used to be an ocean. That was actually a reef underwater. Today though, it's a big dry riverbed. There's a fair bit of water in it still. We're quite late in the season. If you don't drop into Windjana Gorge, you are doing yourself an injustice. Beautiful camping here. However, there's one part to this gorge that I reckon really makes it for me.
What you got for me?
This little friend.
There's not many places in Australia where you can get up close and personal with crocodiles in large numbers, but Windjana is one of them. These little creatures down here, freshwater crocs, there's hundreds of them through Windjana, and of course, it's one of the reasons why this little gorge is so famous. Now, being freshies, pretty darn harmless. You're advised not to swim in here. I have. Don't do what Graham does, do what the signs say. Shouldn't swim in here just in case you do get a little nibble from one of these guys, but at any given time during the middle of the day, you'll see dozens of these things on the banks down here, and I reckon they're pretty darn cool.
This place is spectacular.
It is
so stunning.
bloody amazing how cool this joint is. The perfect weather, the day's turned on, and just the sights are amazing. I'm loving it.
Graham has not done us too bad on this day one of this adventure.
If you get the chance, it's worth coming for a visit to this place around sunset. But we've got a few other spots to hit up today, so we're going to keep on moving. Now, if the guys thought this was impressive, wait till you see what's coming up next. And for that, we need to push a bit further down the road. The Gibb's teeth-rattling corrugations can be pretty hard on a vehicle, and we've barely gone a few Ks before the camera car is in trouble, staking a tyre on a burnt stump on the side of the road. Tell you what, you work with camera people, something's going to go wrong. Pets, kids, camera people. We lost him in the first episode. This one, we're not even half a day in, he's done a tyre.
It's day one, we're on the Gibb, and already we have run into a little bit of strife. Our cameraman has busted a tyre, but luckily we have got all the gear to sort him out. What do you got, Orch?
Like it, patch the tyre, back on the road, still have a spare.
You!
As you'd expect, a tyre on a four-wheel drive 24/7 camera car has had a pretty hard life. But with most of the Gibb left ahead, we're hopeful we can patch this one up and keep it running. Yeah, let's stick a plug in there. Plug him up. Beautiful. That's good news, because we've only got one spare for the camera car, so we're right early on in the trip right now. We do not want to be using that spare right now. I was thinking I was going to come back and see a great big rip in this sidewall. That's good. That's repairable.
How many blokes does it take to change a tyre?
There's only one real bloke here. That's Harley.
This guy.
A patch kit, well, it's one of those things you should never leave on a trip without. And with a bit of elbow grease, we've soon got it sorted. Oh, that looks like it's going to hold. Remember, this is only to get you out of trouble. Don't be using this at highway speeds. Take it into a professional. Get them to patch that up properly for you. It should be good to go.
Done. Just like a brand new one.
Well, Windjana Gorge. Awesome, spectacular. An absolute must-see on the Gibb. It's a detour. You've got to actually turn off the Gibb to go to it. And if you're going to do that, you may as well continue on just a tad further and check out one of the more spectacular things you'll see anywhere in Australia, let alone the Gibb River Road, Tunnel Creek. What are you going to need for Tunnel Creek? Well, you're going to need to get wet, you're going to need a torch, and I hope you're not scared of crocs. Check this out. From the outside, this spot looks a lot like the gorge we last visited. But trust me, this one is on a whole other level. Literally. said this would be spectacular. We're not even in there yet, and I think you can see this is one of the most awesome spots on the Gibb, Tunnel Creek. To go in there now, you're going to need a torch, you're going to need something on your feet, you're going to be prepared to get wet. There's a couple of crocs that live in here too, so keep an eye out for them. Not going to do any harm, but they're good to see. If you're in here during the heat of the day or end of the season like we are, this is just a magic spot to hang out for a couple of hours. Even have a little dip in here if you want to. It is sensational. For now though, let's get stuck into it. Well, it's a bit of a story. We won't go into great detail here, but this was actually a bit of a historic location for an Aboriginal bloke by the name of Jundamurra, who hid out in here for quite some time after getting into a bit of strife in the local region out here. He actually hid out in the other end of the tunnel. Now, if you ask me, if you're going to hide out somewhere, this has got to be one of the sickest places you could do it. The place is full of all sorts of things. If you look down in the water down here, you can see all these little freshwater eels. They're only about yay long. They're only tiny little things. There's a little cherubin in here. And of course it is home to a couple of crocs as well. So he wouldn't have been lonely while he was hanging out in here. Like I just said about Winjana, if you're up this way, you've got to come and check this out. It is sensational. Now, apparently there's some bats in here too. Jundamurra was an outlaw that rebelled against European settlers. For years he used Tunnel Creek as his hideout and was infamous at appearing out of nowhere and disappearing without a trace into this tunnel system. One time the local police thought they'd pinned him down in the tunnel and were about to nab him, but he ducked out of a secret exit and was actually raiding their base. He hid out for over 3 years in Tunnel Creek before he was sadly gunned down in a shootout in 1897. Well, this is probably a bunch of people's nightmares right now. You're in a dark cave, there's water, bats above you, and just down here, a 6-foot croc. How sick! Lucky for us, the crocs in here are again fresh water and will tend to leave you alone if you do the same. And once you make it through the creek, there's a cool lagoon on the other side. And what do you know? A few more friendly locals. Don't whip me with your tail. That then is Tunnel Creek, one of the more unique places you can take a four-wheel drive to, and well worth a visit. For us, it's about time to find a spot to park up for the night. Well, there you darn well go. Tunnel Creek, crocs in the water, bats in the roof. Don't see that every day.
That was something else, but I've got to say, I was pretty nervy at the beginning when you mentioned swimming with crocs.
Yeah, I might have talked it up a little more than it was.
You definitely slapped a bit of mayo on it, but no, it was sensational. Walking through those tunnels was spectacular.
Righto, we've got a few corrugations. When I say a few, couple 100,000 between us and camp. Sun will be just setting. Not too bad a way to finish a day.
Bloody lovely.
The lands around here are made up largely of commercial farming properties, and as such, you need to stick to the marked campsites along the road. Luckily though, there's plenty of options to choose from, and some even have basic amenities. And for tonight, we've got a spot lined up back near Winjana Gorge. Like most of the north of Australia, timing is everything when it comes to visiting the Gibb, and it can get pretty damn busy in the winter period. Right now though, we are on the shoulder season, heading into the wet. And with the weather heating up, a lot of the crowds have left, which is just the way we like it. Steph and Sarge might not have their usual caravan in tow for this trip, but their MITS canopy is fully set up to live out of comfortably off-road. And tonight, they've got the induction cooker cranking with a tasty meal for the crew.
All right, babe, dinner is on us tonight.
All right, what do we got?
Well, at the minute, we've got a few bugs in our pasta from the lights, but we got chicken pesto with semi-dried tomatoes, olives, greens, so we've got some asparagus.
And obviously chicken that I'm cutting.
Over in Steph and Harley's Maverick, a bit more chefery is being hatched, with some preparation underway for a feed they've promised us tomorrow.
We're now at camp. Steph's been making some cocktails.
Cheers.
Cheers. we're into it. And now we need to prep our meal for tomorrow. So we've got our chicken, we've just got some basic marinade. Let's get that on overnight. Tomorrow morning we will cook up some rice and the chicken in preparation for lunch.
Little hint, Orch, what are we talking about?
Just a little fancy Japanese cuisine.
Not something you see on the road every day.
Yeah, so look, stay tuned and we'll see you at lunch. Boom, out.
Well, bit of an update for you folks. We've been on the road now for well over a month, and before this, I'd never had anything to do with caravans at all. So where do I sit right now? Let me paint a bit of a picture for you. King size bed, ready to go. I've got my hot water system on because I'm dusty and dirty. Going to have a hot shower tonight. If I feel like going to the toilet in the middle of the night, I can do. Harles is getting a haircut over here. We've got the footy on and we're in the middle of the Kimberley. What do I think about van life? I'll let you decide. Cheers. Time for another brewski.
And that's your haircut done. Thanks for coming to the salon.
Lovely, cheers,
I'll
thanks,
just get all this excess hair off you.
Yeah.
All in all, I gotta say, that's a pretty cracking first day done and dusted. I tell you folks, where are you right now? Or should I say, where would you rather be? Yeah!
Well guys, I just want to show you some very new, exciting products to hit the Snatch range. Now, this one hardly needs an introduction. This is the Weekender bag. It's my bag. It's been in the back of the Dirty 30 for a long time. Heavy duty canvas, PVC inline, good quality zips, means it's absolutely bush-proof and more importantly, Shauno-proof. And check out its big brother, the Long Weekender. It's a big duffel bag, perfect for those bigger trips away. Now check out these, they're a huge favourite of mine and a lot of effort and time has gone into developing the new range of clear top bags that come in 3 sizes, the small, the medium and the large. These all sit in the back of the Dirty 30 and keep everything absolutely organised. And the best bit about it all, you can get it all right now at forwarddrive247.com.
At this time of year, you gotta be prepared for some serious heat, with the temps hitting the high 30s almost as soon as the sun rises. But there's a perfect remedy for that, not too far ahead. Well, great camp here last night at Winjana Gorge, but for us, the Gibb has yet to really start. Today we're gonna backtrack onto the Gibb River Road, and the theme for today is swimming. From here on in, the rest of the Gibb River Road really does offer oodles of chances to jump in freshwater and go for a swim. So I think the first port of call for us might have to be one of the most famous gorges on the Gibb, that being Bell Gorge. We'll spend a couple of hours down there and see how the day goes, but then we might push on and find a camping spot, maybe up towards Mount Barnett. We'll see how we go. The world is our oyster. Harley's overnight marinade is getting cooked up this morning, but he's still being tight-lipped on what they've got planned for this Asian sensation. For now, it's time to strike camp and get back on the road. Soon we've rejoined the main route and are settling in for a drive to our first swimming spot of the day. Well, corrugations on the Gibb. There's no escaping them. You can only kind of combat them. My go-to is a 2-pronged attack. Firstly, tyre pressures. About the 25 PSI mark. It's comfortable and yet it still allows me to do a moderate speed. Next, trying to find what that speed is. Sometimes crawling is your only approach, but usually you can get up to a certain speed and kind of coast along the top of the corrugations. You've got to experiment a bit to find out what works, what's safe, and where you should be speed-wise. Right now, you can see I've almost hit that perfect kind of speed. If I was to slow down a bit, I'll just make sure there's no one coming. I'll show you what happens when I slow down. Feel that? As I slow down? But as I speed up again, I'll just get it back up to 60. Hear that? I'm now kind of just riding across the top. I don't need to go any faster. It sort of becomes a bit... There's a few washouts here. I want to be able to get to those and slow down in time. Anyone that's ever hit a washout flat out will know it's a horrible feeling. It just compresses your suspension and just puts so much load through the body of the vehicle. You don't want to do that. Very, very common to see tyres blown apart on the Gibb. And I tell you what, if you make it to the other end of the Gibb, nothing's rattled loose, nothing's fallen off, you're in the minority. Really is a harsh bit of track, but get your tyre pressures right, get your speed right, and you shouldn't have any problems at all. Fingers crossed. Well, folks, it's quite timely with the passing of Lizzie this week. No matter where you stand on the monarchy, I think it's a sad day in anyone's language, that we should pass through the Napier Range right here. If you kind of squint and use your imagination, there she is. Queen Victoria's head, looking down over the Napier Range for eons to go and eons to come. I don't know if it's much of a compliment because, by God, she's got a big nose, but
Oh my God!
as we go past, you'll be able to check it out.
I thought you were really going down a dark path there, but wow, that actually looks like her.
That is legit.
Yeah, I had no idea where you were going with that, Graham.
I don't think her nose was quite that big in real life, but yeah, there she is.
Well played, sir, well played. That's an impressive little tidbit.
Graham, the car's telling us it's bloody 30 degrees outside. When are we getting into these pools?
Bit of respect, please, as you pass under Lizzie's nose. We'll talk about swimming afterwards. When it comes to swimming spots on the Gibb, you can't go past the magnificent Bells Gorge. To get there, we've once again got to leave the main track and head about 30 k's to the northwest. Then take a bit of a hike into the gorge itself. It's hot work, but the payoff is absolutely worth it.
Are you a Speedos kind of man, Graham? Or
No, mate, no, the world's seen enough of me over the years. I don't need to see any more. Rightio, for all of you following along at home, this spectacular bit of kit right here is Bells Gorge for us. The first swimming spot on the Gibb. Real popular gorge, this one, usually. Especially during the school holidays, you can have hundreds of people down there. Right now, however, check this out. Yep, we got it to ourselves, dogs. Woo! The Kimberley is famous for its remote swimming holes, and this is about as good as they come.
wow, this is sick.
It's pretty epic.
It's safe to take a dip in these pools, and they've got waterfalls in abundance, and it's the perfect way to wash off the dust of the road. This is my first swim on the Gibb in probably 7, 8 years. Not going to waste any more time. I'm getting the gut shirt on and I'm going in.
He's done it. He is all that is man.
Now look, in peak season, this spot can get absolutely pumped by tourists. But now, the payoff of coming late in the season is becoming pretty obvious. Might come as a shock to all the viewers out there, but I never learnt to dive. I was just a jump in the water kind of person. So, to 500,000 people around the world, this is my third dive I've ever done in my life.
Go on, Gary.
Oh, it's actually,
You can do it.
I can do it! Oh, did I do it?
No.
Oh, okay, yep, that's not what I look like, okay?
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Best one.
While I'm busy trying to figure out how to look like a duck in water, or try not to drown, Steph and Harley are off doing that coupley thing, and have found an even more secluded spot downstream.
Oh my gosh, this is so cool.
This is insane. Oh my God, this is so beautiful. How are we the only ones
Oh, this is actually magical.
We've spent about 45 minutes swimming downstream, trekking through the rocks. We've ditched the camera crew, we've ditched the rest of the crew, we're off, and we've come across this absolute gem. Get a load of this.
And we have it all to ourselves.
Everybody's special with this.
So last episode, a couple of 1,000 kilometres south to be fair, we were talking about people who are just chucking it all in, getting on the road, going around Australia. the big dream, really, isn't it? Sarge and Steph, just like, of course, Harley and Steph back there, are doing exactly the same thing. And I would lie if I was to say I'm not just a tad jealous. So what's the plans, mate? What's going on? Lap of Oz? What's the, what's the big grand plan?
Yeah, mate, full lap around. We left about 9 months ago, heading around, went sort of up the east coast first and then made our way across.
And what's the living arrangements? You said you're towing?
Yeah, we've got a 19-foot off-road caravan, and then the cruiser's all set up for us to do some more remote stuff where we can't get the van in. We take the cruiser with the rooftop tent.
Yeah, I think that's kind of my ultimate aim with this vehicle, is to get my canopy set up such that if I want to leave the van somewhere and go, stay overnight, I can be super comfortable doing so. And it looks like you've you pretty much nailed that.
Yeah, so the canopy's been set up with full off-grid battery system in it, full kitchen, everything. Big water storage as well, so if we do go a bit more remote where we can't sort of get water every now and then, we can still use the water from the cruiser and pump that into the caravan as well, so yeah, it's great.
So you're almost replicating the van, but in the canopy, really.
Yeah, that's right, and also with battery power, we can turn the inverter on and pump from the MIT setup into the caravan. So if we want to park up underneath a couple of trees for a few days, we can still charge the car and then charge it back into the van.
Yeah, I'm going to try that. I'm going to see if I can run my air conditioning system in the van off my vehicle. I reckon I should be able to.
Yeah, I reckon we give that a crack tonight and see how we go.
Like I said, you never have to go too far on this road to find another amazing spot to check out. And next on the list is Galvin's Gorge. First though, Steph and Harley's mystery feed is being revealed, and it's pretty ingenious.
Now, it may look like a crazy device, but this is where the magic happens.
Oh my, this is erotic.
Oh, what?
Hang about.
Oh.
Yeah,
Look at that. That's sushi. They've made sushi on the side of the Gibb River Road.
Galvin's Gorge.
I'll be darned.
there you go.
Look at that.
Damn!
I was like, wait, change.
Change hands. With lunch done, it's on to the gorge. Once again, there's a bit of a hike in, but again, we're the only people here. Well, this little bad boy right here is Galvin's Gorge. It's my favourite stop on the entire Gibb River Road. It's only a short walk into here. Now, a little tip for you, when you're going to come into Galvin's Gorge, try and time it to come in right on lunchtime. There's a lot of tourist buses going up and down, but of course what do tourist buses have to do? They have to stop for lunch. So they're all out in the car park having lunch right now, and we've had the entire place to ourselves. Second little tip for you, I'm not going to tell you where it is. You're going to have to search for it by yourself. But at Galvin's Gorge, there is an amazing Wandjina figure up on the walls. We'll get a shot of it, but you're going to have to find it for yourselves. Please don't touch it when you do find it, but enjoy this spot. Magical. Boys, I hope you've got your sports bras on, because this one will make your money jiggle jiggle.
This is a great time to have the Speedos on, my friend.
You know, if you ask anyone who's done the Gibb to sum it up in one or two words, they'll either say corrugations or they'll definitely say waterholes or gorges. It is littered with waterholes and gorges. You can do one every half an hour to an hour as you're driving along. Now, if they don't have camping at them, then you can do them as a day trip from your campsite, or like we're doing right now, just zip in as you're travelling north or south. This one is called Adcock Gorge. It's 4 k's off the main road, corrugated as heck getting in here, as you can see. But it's one of those gorges not too many people jump into to have a look at, so you're almost going to get it. If not to yourself, you'll probably get it with just a couple of other people. Something you've probably already noticed dotting the landscape is a tree that really defines this part of the world. These mighty trees are a symbol of the north and also of great significance in Indigenous culture. Well, I don't think there is a more iconic symbol of the Kimberley region than the old boab tree right there. About 20 years ago when I was doing a lap of Australia, I met an old Aboriginal bloke, and I went out with his family for a night. We camped out, and he told me a bit of a story about the Dreamtime and the old boab tree, and I'll try and relate it back to you. Basically, the boab tree, when it was first created, was the most glorious looking thing in the Kimberley. Beautiful leaves, great big flowers. It was stunning to look at. The problem that it had is that it was extremely vain. It would tell anyone that would listen that it was way more beautiful than them. More beautiful than the hills, more beautiful than the birds, way more beautiful than that stinky lizard over there, way more beautiful than all the waterfalls and all the gorges put together, till one day, God just got so angry with the boab tree being so vain that it grabbed it, pulled it out of the ground, shoved it back in upside down. So today, all you can see are the boab's roots sticking up in the air. So if you're beautiful, just shut up about it. I know I do. I'm no boab tree. There's a lot of ground to cover along the Gibb, especially when you take all the detours. And with a thirsty old petrol, I'm relieved when we make it to the halfway mark and the chance to fill up at Mount Barnett. Well, when you've got this many horses under the bonnet, you've got to feed them. It's about the only place I can get unleaded on the Gibb, so I'm going to pop her right up here. I'm even going to do a jerry can as well. Tell you what though, driving the big 62, I ain't complaining because they're still making it. The time gets away from you pretty quickly when there's so much to see and do along the road. And soon enough, we are getting dangerously close to beer o'clock. For this trip, we've only had a pretty loose plan on where we want to camp each night. And this afternoon, we've stumbled across an absolute perler of a spot hidden away out the back of the Barnett River. Well, we got word that there was a bit of a free camp down here on the river. There's a whole heap of people up this way, but we sort of followed our nose down to the left. It was a bit tight getting the vans in. We sort of went the opposite direction to the crowds, and we have found an absolute ball terror. Got a huge big boab tree in the distance here, little river down here that might have a fish in it, who knows? Fire going, couple of beers tonight. This is the Gibb. That's why I love it.
How good is this spot, Orch? All to ourselves.
Mate, it's bloody spectacular. We've just pulled in 5 minutes off the track. Here we are, we've got the river in the background.
The boab tree.
The boab tree.
The only thing we're missing is our head chef for the night. Graham has...
He's gone fishing, so
For a little wonder.
I think we're gonna have to grab the rods, chase him down there and see if we can beat him. Yeah.
Sounds good.
These waterways might look small, but they're a haven for a pretty tasty little fish, the sooty grunter. And yep, I got to admit, I've gotten a bit overexcited and headed off without the crew to go for a cast.
Hey,
Really?
first cast, boy.
Oh!
It's a stunker. I don't know what it is, but it's a beast.
These little fellas aren't quite size, but it's a good start.
Oh no. Oh, that could be an issue.
The native tree fish.
Oh, they're not good eating.
That's gonna cause real issues.
I'll show you how it's done.
Now, Steph's had a lot of firsts on this trip so far, and today she can tick off another one.
Oh, you're on.
Oh.
You're on.
Oh.
Pull the end up.
Oh!
Lift the end up.
Oh!
Keep whining.
Oh!
Keep whining.
Oh! Oh my God!
Yeah.
Stop.
That'll do.
Oh my God! What do I do now? I caught my first fish!
Just let a bit of line out. So pull on the line just above.
No!
Oh well. Quick catch and release.
If there's one surefire way to annoy your cameraman, it's disappear off ahead of him with a fishing rod before he can catch you. Because missing a catch shot is a camera guy's worst nightmare. I've gone and managed to do both those things, and it turns out I even found a third way to annoy him. I've got a bit of an admission to make, folks. Got into camp today, I got set up, got all ready to go, and I spied the river down there. Got my fishing gear ready, and I raced down there to have a crack, and I got a couple. I got them on my head cam, the whole lot. I did it all right. I saw a big deep hole, and I took a shortcut on the side of the bank. I slipped straight down into the water, over my head. I couldn't get back up the bank. I had to swim around the corner to get back out. I've lost one of the head cams, and I've also lost a radio mic that we use to transmit the audio back to the main camera. So right now, this bloke here is extremely angry with me. I've lost $1,000 worth of gear, and he didn't get any of the fish on camera. I'm sorry, Doz. Tomorrow morning, we'll try again. All in all, it's been a pretty eventful day, and I'm hoping I can get back in the good books with a meal that's been in the Cahill family since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. But of course, I had to consult my mum first. Up until just a little while ago, I thought this was a made-up recipe that my parents fed me when I was young, and they just made up a name for it, Highly Min. Turns out I'm radically wrong. It is an actual recipe. I've never cooked it before in my life. This is the first time I'm trying. I rang my mum. I said, "Oh yeah, mum, how do you cook Highly Min?" She gave me the directions, and I thought, well, let's show these youngsters how to cook up one heck of a feast. All right, like any good dish, it's always going to start off with a bit of a base. The base of this good dish, onion, garlic, and a big whack of dead pig. We're just going to reduce that down because now we're going to brown our beef. And from here, we've got some secret ingredients that are going to go in. First and foremost, people used stock cubes when they were in the 1950s. These days you can get these little, ooh, smell that, little jelly shot, like a little, how you going? Whack that in there. We're going to add some chicken noodle soup. Ordinarily, oh, look at the colour in that. That's not natural. That's pure chemicals, kids. Wouldn't be my meal if I wasn't putting some Vegemite in there. That's exactly right. Next, we're going to need some curry powder. Curry powder, as far as I'm concerned, is the backbone of Australian cooking. That's 4 tablespoons of curry powder. This is the point at which you're going to need to put your thinking caps on and use the Pythagorean theory that you learnt in primary school. For every 500 grams of mince, you're going to need 6 tablespoons of rice. I've put 3 lots of 500 grams of mince, 6, 12, 18 tablespoons of rice. Roughly that much rice. Now, we're going to stir it in. That is really starting to smell like Highly Min. Damn. We're going to add some beans. So pop those in there. Then we're going to use some stock. You could use water, but then what we're going to do is add, yep, believe it or not, cabbage. So if you do the math, cabbage, curry, all sorts of herbs and spices. We've got beef, pork, bacon, onions. Oh, I'm excited. Rightio, we've given this bad boy about an hour or so just to get rid of that brown looking colour out of the meat. And if I take this off now, hot, lots of hot. Look at that. It's all turned. As I was saying, we are ready to plate up here. There you go. Oh yeah, overflowing. That's going to be really hot too because it's one of those things. It's not the prettiest thing you've ever seen, but have a little try. Go on. Have a little. It's going to be hot. It's going to be hot. Oh yeah.
Actually really good.
Is it right?
I'm genuinely shocked. Sorry.
No, don't be. No. I'm glad. That's a good response.
What is it?
Highly Min.
Highly Min.
It's all right.
Mrs. Cahill. On to a winner.
Well, I can tell by the looks on their faces, this will be a meal they will pass down from generation to generation. Now, that's utterly unimportant because what's happening now is we've come up to a part of the Gibb where we've kind of done the touristy thing. We've done the main gorges. As we move further north now, we're going to really head off grid. But for now, I'm going to grab myself a brewski. The fire's still going. Going to enjoy that. And tomorrow, we're going to go and catch a fish without me falling in the river. It's a rare privilege to find a camp as secluded as this one along the Gibb, and I'll be putting a pin in this spot for the memory banks for sure. But this morning, I've got just one thing on my mind, and that's to rectify last night's stuff up and get a decent fish on board without falling in and with a cameraman in tow. I'm scared to go near the edge. Traumatised. Now, I swear that the fish I caught last night was an absolute stonker. But this morning, the catch is a little less spectacular. Only a little baby one. Let this little fella go. And it turns out that that might be the bloody theme of the morning. It's not what we wanted at all. You can see how aggressive these little fish are. I mean, he's half the size of the lure. This is the scene of the crime. This is where I fell in, straight in there. And it doesn't look it, but that is very deep in there. And this time yesterday, there were some noises being made that would resemble a woman giving birth. After trolling the riverbanks, I'm starting to think the big sooty grunter are just camera shy. Come on, give me a big donkey one. Just one. But the littlies are hitting lures left, right and centre. Look at the size of that. It's a different fish.
First fish of the day.
This little bad boy.
Oh, hey little guy.
He's going to fight to live another day.
No.
It's the world's tiniest fish. We're looking at a stonking hot day today, and soon the fish are quietening down, and it's time to make tracks. It's going to hit about 42 degrees today, but luckily we've got one last stunning gorge to check out that offers some incredible swimming, and it's just a K or two from camp. Well, I reckon that might go down as one of the best camps we've had in the Kimberley River down there. Caught a few fish, big boab tree to camp under. Look at the size of that thing. It's absolutely huge. For now, I think everyone's pretty keen. We're going for a bit of a dip. It's 36 degrees at 10 past 9 in the morning. As I said, jeepers creepers, it is tight getting into this little place here. Ain't no way you could do this as easily if you couldn't see the van behind you. It's paramount that you get to see the van behind you. And of course, for that, I've been running them on all my vehicles, the old Clearview mirrors. They just give you so much more, oh geez, that's tight, vision at the rear of your vehicle.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you very much. If you tow, doesn't matter what it is, caravan, camper, boat, get yourself a set of Clearviews because these bad boys make life so much easier. Our final gorge of the trip is an absolute ripper. On a hot day, it can be a hard hike in, and bringing plenty of water is a good idea. But just look at this place. It's stunning.
Woo-hoo-hoo. How good's that for you?
Oh, that's sick.
As if to add insult to injury, the waters below the cliff are teeming with good-sized fish. And despite our best efforts, they're just a little too far out of reach.
Now, Harley and I have never been to the West Coast before, and we've definitely heard all the locals talk it up. West is best.
Including one very specific man that has not stopped rambling. But look, when you get to a place like this, it's pretty hard to argue with. This is special. Get out here and see it for yourself.
The Barnett River Gorge might not be the most famous on the Gibb, and maybe it's just the heat, but I gotta say, this is one of the best spots we found all trip.
I am so terrified of jumping off stuff, it's not funny.
Seth, I just did it.
Go on!
Yes! Yeah, the girls. Yeah, the steps.
Unfortunately, the whole crew has had a crack at this one, and that just leaves me.
It's only about 3 grams high.
That's way more grams than I need.
3, 2, 1, go!
So we're on top of the rocks here, trying to jump. Graham's been waiting for about 5 to 10. If he does not go, what's his new nickname going to be? He's a little squealy boy.
Here we go. He's doing it. He's psyched. He's ready.
Gary! 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 How was it, guys? How was it? It was actually really easy.
If this doesn't make you want to drop everything and get out touring, I just don't know what will. And this is just a taste of what the Kimberley has to offer. Truly a magical place. As for us, it's time to push onwards to another iconic part of the Gibb, a place known as the gateway to the Kimberley. And for that, we got to put some serious K's in. Righto, here it is. The elephant in the room, the big Y62 towing, caravan, off-road, on-road. What are my fuel figures like? It's been about 6 weeks now. I've been monitoring them closely, not using the computerised system, actually using the fill to the brim, how many Ks did I do system. Sitting on 100 kilometres per hour using cruise control, overtaking when I need to. So being a moderately aggressive driver, you know, I'm not sitting at 80. I really am pushing fairly hard. I am returning routinely on 24 to 25 litres per 100. A lot of you might be thinking that's a lot. Trust me when I say, for this big rig, I am stoked with those fuel figures, towing a 3-tonne caravan behind me. Let's just check in with the guys behind, because I know they're monitoring as well, and see how they're going to give you a bit of a comparison between myself and other vehicles in the convoy. Stafals, you guys are significantly smaller in terms of vehicles, slightly bigger caravan. Where are you at litres per 100, you reckon?
I think at the minute we're sitting just above 16, 17, fully loaded, full water, everything like that. We seem to be sitting around that mark.
Pretty darn good. I'd take that. I'd be very, very happy with that. To give us a real in-depth now, we're going to look at the 79, and of course that's, I guess you'd say, on par with this vehicle, on par with the 200 series. Sarge, what's the damage, mate?
Mate, yeah, she's a bit heavy on the juice. With the van on, we probably sit around that 25 to 30, sort of depending on whereabouts we are. But keep in mind, we are very heavy. We're about 7.2 tonne with the van and all the gear loaded up.
So there you go, folks. Elephant in the room, the big Y62, fully loaded, towing, let's call it 25 litres per 100. In the comments down below, if you tow, give me your vehicle, what you're towing, and your fuel figures. I'm going to look through every single one of them, and I want to see what you guys are getting. The northern section of the Gibb is a little sparser, a little more remote, and a heck of a lot rougher. And the corrugations just don't let up for even a moment. It's so rough, in fact, that my spotty mounts have rattled loose and I've had to take my lights off. But if that's the worst to happen on this mighty road, I reckon that's okay. After several hours and with the sun about to set, we at last reach a spot that I know is on the bucket list of every red-blooded four-wheel driver. Have a look at that. Coburn Ranges, Pentecost River. Guys, I'd like to say that I timed this to perfection, but it was an absolute fluke, to be honest with you. But this is the time of day for a milestone to be ticked off. Crossing the Pentecost with the Coburn Ranges lit up with the sunset in the background. Look at that.
The golden hour just makes it look so spectacular.
That is friggin' amazing. That's all I can say, I reckon.
Like
that is
a postcard.
amazing. Like a postcard.
Yeah, if you own a four-wheel drive and crossing this river with the sun setting behind you and those ranges lit up isn't on your list of things to do, then, I don't know, sell your bloody four-wheel drive and go and buy an IKEA.
Yeah, look, mate, as happy as I am to get off them corrugations, I'm sad to see the Gibb end.
Well, let's not say goodbye just yet. If we turn left just here, there's a couple of stunning free camps. What do you reckon? These free camps on the Pentecost make for about as good a spot to pull up as you'll find anywhere. And Steph has stepped things up a notch with a sunset cheese platter to celebrate the end of the Gibb. Well, this really is as good as it looks. Pentecost River down here, sunset, be it one of the best spreads I've seen anywhere in the middle of nowhere. Now you might be thinking, that's the end of their Kimberley adventure. Where do they go to next? We are just starting. We've got another week or so lined up here. We're going to be taking on a pretty gnarly track with the vans. We're also going to be heading to a couple of swimming holes and finishing up in very, very grand style. If you don't believe me, take a look at the sneak peek that I'm going to give you right now. But for now, cheers, folks, and thanks for watching Off Grid. We'll catch you. Next time on Off Grid, we link up with a local legend, my good mate Ronnie, who shows us a side of the Kimberley many don't get to see. We'll chase Barra at a locals-only fishing spot, tackle the Karungi track, and check out one of the Kimberley's most famed attractions. Coming soon, only on 4-Wheel Drive 24/7.